how has the retreat at the Upaya Zen Center been going?
It's going well. We have around 15 people, like a guest coming for that period, close to a month, and plus around 18 residents, people that have been training here, and we are three teachers co-teaching this part. And it's going well. Has been good. People, I think they need some time to go inward.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, it's online. We have online, I think maybe over 500 people join us online. Yeah, and they find their own pace to join us. But the average of gatherings online activities is between 60, 80, 90, you know.
Wow. Well, it's great that there's
hmm
like a that people remotely can kind of participate in more of the concentrated, focused practice periods there.
Yeah, it's a good tool. Zoom is a good tool because there are many people that won't be able to come here to Paya. Some of participants or members are because they are elderly and then Upaya, Santa Fe is high altitude, can be very challenging for many of them. Other is financially, other people that are living really remote, like in small towns, and there is it's a challenge to come here, get
Yeah.
planes and things like that.
Certainly, certainly. And
Yeah.
it must be interesting for you to be there because I think believe that you trained and lived there for about 8 years
hmm
before going to where you are now. What does it feel
hmm
like to be back? I mean, I'd imagine that you've been back since, but what is it? What was it
hmm
like to train there, and then what is it like to kind of come back now?
Now I have 10 years that I left Upaya. So now it's quite, I get my new relationship with the place, no? And it's good. It's just lovely place. For me, it's very good because everything is setting to cultivate my personal practice. So there's less distraction and then I have a lot of support by the residents and the structure is already in place. So it's good to be in the rhythm of the schedule. I don't have these kind of structures in my place in San Diego, in Chula Vista exactly, because it's late practitioners, so people come and go, and then it's just late practitioner. I know full time, or I know I'm monastic. So to come here is good for my practice, plus create opportunity to share the Dharma with
Yeah.
others.
Yeah, I've never been to Upaya, but there is you were mentioning that there are about maybe 18 residents that are there or something like
hmm
that. Like there's a framework and infrastructure that allows for um, a lot more, I guess, in-person committed practice
hmm
and
hmm
and residential training, which is an entirely different ball game. Because I believe in San Diego, you founded the Open Gate Zen Collective,
That's
and
right.
and it sounds like most of the people that are joining you are typically lay practitioners. But you did,
hmm
I believe I saw that you held your first Jukai in 2017 or something like that for some of your lay members. Uh,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, 2017. Yeah,
wow, wow. What was that like?
over there.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh yeah,
Well,
what was that like to found a Zen collective in San Diego and and to kind of gather create a space for a sangha to develop and then have this kind of committed ceremonial element to it where people are
hmm
really finding this space to be important for themselves and finding Zen to be important to themselves, and you're facilitating that commitment. What was that
hmm
like?
Yeah, it was, to find in the beginning after leaving Upaya and also to be assigned or to be authorized to be a teacher. So it was no easy in the beginning. It's a new role that you need to play, or it's a new way to practice. and I just continue my practice, my zazen, and then trusting the unfolding, how it's going to express, and there's a lot unknown, and that is the practice. I was not expecting, honestly, I was not expecting to have people interested to do yukai or to receive the precepts. When I went to San Diego, I had already two people that they asked me to receive precepts before, and I did my first ceremony was in Mexico in 2015, December 2015, and later in 2016 and in August I did another one in Las Cruces for somebody that she asked me. And when I came to San Diego, I was like, no, I was not goal oriented to have that. It was just to explore what it will emerge. And somebody came and asked me that she wanted to get like a deep in the practice, deep commitment, and she heard about receiving precepts, and then if I was able to do it. When I saw somebody interested, okay, so I opened, the classes, the preparation to the group, and there were three people, two in total. There were three, so they have already a Zen practice before, and many that were just in the beginning, and then I told them, it's good, come to the class, but give it some time, the practice get in, and then maybe for next year we do it for you. So that was how it happened, and
Mm.
then I did.
Wow. And you were saying that in just before that, in maybe
Hmm.
2015, you had done a Jukai ceremony for a community sangha in Mexico. Is it Mexico City? Is that where that was? Or is it elsewhere?
No, it was exactly in Mar de Jade. Mar
Mm.
de Jade, or it's a resort hotel, the most renting for yoga classes and then holistic teachings. Plus, the owner of that place, or the founder, she's a Zen practitioner. She's a Dharma teacher, um, Laura del Valle. So she have a quite small sangha there, no?
Mm.
And Norman Fisher, he goes there very often with Kathy Fisher. Uh, they go, I think, every year now. And that time I was in Mexico, and she allowed me to spend some time in her place. And then plus I participate in the Rohatsu and the end of the year retreats, and it's a tradition. Uh, and then she was my student, Joren, Joanna. She asked me to be like a asked me to receive the precepts. I said yes, let's do it. So she came to the session, and then I did the ceremony for her.
Wow. And what is that? What's that been like when you? Because I believe you're from Veracruz, Mexico,
Hmm.
and what is that like to uh, plug back into, having been trained both in New Mexico and also in Toronto, to go back to
Hmm.
Mexico and to facilitate Zen
Hmm.
practice and to work with people.
Hmm.
How is that? What has that felt like?
It's in the beginning it was challenging. In the beginning it was because most of my training it happened in the English language. I like I did, I would say, 4 years in Mexico, two years exactly, but two other 2 years that was in and out of the Sangha. But I would say like the 4 years of reading and and Spanish and learning Buddhism in Spanish, and later come to the north, everything was in English. So more my training it has been in English setting and Anglo and American Zen. And to come back, it took, yeah, it was a little difficult to find sometimes the words, and then to come back to the culture and to find like idioms how to explain, or stories, cultural stories how to explain Buddhism of Zen. And then, yeah, it took me a little time. Um, but I start doing more often. So now I have two groups, one in Mexico City that we meet weekly through Zoom, and the other one is in Bogotá. So being, and also in San Diego, we have one meditation class in Spanish, so that helps me to be, more fluent in my own language. Then I think I found the approach
Mm, mm.
to my own culture.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that kind of difficulty or that challenge where you're learning, um you're training in like an English speaking uh environment, and so all of the idioms and the cultural context and the phrasing that's being
Mhm.
used, it applies to people that live here in America and that speak English and have that as a background. And then you have to kind of think about another way of communicating some of these similar concepts, but just in that you have to deliver them in a certain way that make them resonate. Have you noticed that when you work with some of these sanghas that are based in Mexico City or Bogota, which is Colombia, is that right?
It's
Bogota is Colombia.
Colombia, yeah.
And when you work with them, is there something that comes up a lot from like question wise that they want to have deep into? Is it different from anything that comes up in your San Diego sangha or when you lead retreats in America? Do you find any kind of difference between so far within these smaller groups like that? Is there anything that comes from these sanghas based in Mexico and Colombia that are different than what you get question wise here?
Uh, yeah, yeah. It's a little different. Let me give you maybe you want to get some kind of example or to answer this. I think the the Anglo population is quite, um, I would say, it's a little quite task oriented and organization and planning, and then which quite make it sometimes easier to deliver the Dharma, sometimes make it difficult. Uh, and then they get instructions and they follow it. It's uh, and the Spanish culture is a little more broad. Is a little um, if you try to bring like the same forms and the way how we teach Anglos, you will get frustrated because people are not getting used to this kind of buy. Um, but there is something about spontaneity those Latino people has. The is right there. It's like they have a lot of no knowing, and then the Anglo Latin is more I want to know, and then it's like a more like a no knowing is this kind of innocent the approach to the practice, and then the what is the challenge? I think for everybody, but most for Latino, is the the living situation, the living situation. There is no easy for them uh, sometimes to have the time because the work that they have and the job and the priorities that they have, and that's quite challenging uh, to create something because we need, you need money, you need resources. In America, it's a little quite easier that part. Some people has more understanding now about, oh, I need to have a spiritual practice, or oh, I know like a meditation practice is good for me, and then put it in the part of the well-being. And over there is, if I have time, I will do it, you know. So that's um, this I can say, and both of them sometimes I found like one of the challenge in our practice is about our self-esteem. So sometimes we meet that we have low self-esteem to the
Mhm.
practice. And over there is very, I can see it, the conditioning of many years and centuries of oppression of the system in general, globally. So to get out from that conditioning is very hard. Um, yeah, and then here in the Anglo is so much pressure about to be right, to be the number one. The unconsciously the practice become this kind of competition that had to be good.
Yeah.
That's I can see.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And it is very interesting. A lot of what you're saying about, I mean, my perspective is what I know about having practiced in a lot of like American, like white Western European Anglo kind of practice out
Hmm.
here, and what you're saying resonates with what I'm seeing. Like there is that kind of like a lot of well, I want to get this right. So what does that mean? What does that symbol mean? And how does this concept play? Am I doing this sitting correctly? And like the and also like that privilege too of like having this some people here in America having the opportunity to have time for that spiritual practice and to be able to do certain things, and that being different elsewhere. So thank you for sharing that also difference between what it's like to lead practice in Mexico City and Bogota, and I do notice that with the Open Gate Zen Collective in San Diego, that when I looked at the website, there is some honoring of uh, Latino culture and Hispanic culture with the Dia de los Muertos, because I think I saw in the
Mm,
Zendo that there was
yeah.
that moment. What was that experience like? Kind of bringing a cultural celebration into the Zendo and
Mm,
celebrating both in and
mm.
honoring it in an honorary space.
Yeah, well, it was a beautiful experience. It has been beautiful. I was not expected what it was gonna come out. So and then it started. I was in Sweetwater Zen Center in National City, and I was living there, and just we were outside of the temple and Sweetwater Zen Center and fire pit talking, and it was very dark. And I was talking with a friend, Rosie, that she was a resident at that time. We were talking and say, "Oh, what we are gonna do for Halloween?" We were talking about Halloween, and we start just making jokes about, oh, like a get a like a whole counting um, a house or something around, and because it was very dark, the backyard. And suddenly came, why not we do the Dia de los Muertos? Why not we do the Day of the Dead? And they say, yeah. And then I said, we can do this. And we came. So we came with the plan. And then I couldn't believe how many people show up for that event. And then wow. So and then we stayed with that. Like, okay, let's do it next year. And then I left Sweetwater and then I went an Open Gate, and then we started doing it. And what I see was the it's so value to remember our ancestors. It's very value, we are so disconnected. And this so we don't visit cemeteries here in America. Very rare. We don't have that kind of the tradition. And even we are losing um, the honoring the dead, the body. When somebody pass away, everybody's so busy. Just we go to the system and then okay, we bury or we cremate it, and then some people throw a party. But there is no mourning or grieving like in other traditions or culture that they still have. In Mexico, they still in the 9 days. There are Catholic, most of them, so they the rosaries, and for 9 days, they keep this mourning and grieving. Uh, so the loss of somebody. anyway, so when we start doing here, I say, okay, let's do it. The altar, it's a Buddhist altar, but with the elements of the Mexican culture. And then we start decorated, and I ask people bringing food because it's part of it of the offering. And I say, let's do it potluck. So people bring their own food, and we do this ritual, Buddhist ritual. We chant the Heart Sutra, and then the end make the Sutra of the Compassion, the Avalokiteshvara. Between those chants, we recite the names of people that we want to remember. And also we recite the names of people that might need some healing, or people that struggle in lives, to send good wishes for them. And at the end of the ceremony, so we share the meal, and it has been very, very, very good. Like, people show up, and what I hear from American people say they like to bring pictures of their people want to remember. For them it was like, oh, what? So that was good for them.
Oh, good. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm really happy to hear that it resonated. And also too, I mean, there's just this occasion to be among those pictures of family, friends, or people that are loved
Mm.
ones that are passed or having a hard time, and then to sit down and have a potluck. I don't know if it was in the same place, but at least in proximity to those pictures, it kind of feels like they're all together. There's like a
Yeah, community building. Yes.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
connecting with people that are in a different place, or at least are somewhere in our grief. And
Hmm.
so you
Hmm.
you created that space for it. Well, I'm really happy that was a meaningful thing, and then bringing in some of those uh, Buddhist elements, some of those ritual elements, as well as something that kind of uh, gave some structure, but also helped in the honoring of that connection and that grieving.
Hmm.
Um, and and I know that too. I mean, just briefly, because I was looking at the Open Gate Zen Collective. There's like a blog, and I know that sometimes you will lead retreats, or you'll lead different, and things will take you elsewhere. You'll be outside of San Diego
Hmm.
sometimes, and I believe like a
Hmm.
couple weeks ago, I saw that you were delayed to come back to the collective because of a sandstorm or something like that. And I was
Oh,
just curious.
yes.
I was just curious, like what happened with that?
Yeah. So 1 week before the retreat, the weekend retreat. So I have a partner, I have a fiance that she's a Mexican. So I am bringing her to the United States. So as my fiance, and then we had the appointment in the consulate in Juarez, in Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua, Mexico. So we went there for all these appointments that she needed to have. And then my plan was fly to Tuesday, but the sound storm in Juarez, because it's desert, they canceled all the flights. So I had to wait more than 24 hours to get the next flight until Saturday morning, and that's what I came just you know
Right on.
safe, sliding and home. And yeah, that I think somebody wrote that story in the newsletter.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Mhm.
well, I'm sorry that
Mhm.
a sandstorm kind of delayed things, but
Mhm.
congratulations on your upcoming marriage, and it's a really wonderful
Thank
thing. So
you.
congratulations. Well, and on the kind of desert note, I've seen some pictures on your website, and just kind of in the various places where you've done retreats, like in Santa Fe. Uh, it appears that you are somewhat drawn to high desert, or desert climates, in the sense that I see a lot of pictures of you or from Monument Valley in Arizona, these beautiful buttes that kind of
Mm.
shoot up into the
Mm.
sky,
Mhm.
with a lot of like low sagebrush nearby,
Mhm.
and I believe the Devil's Tower in
Oh
Utah.
yeah, and Wyoming, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, really beautiful stone and rock formations that kind of
Yeah, yeah.
jut up into the air. Is
Hmm.
there something about a butte or something about those kind of I believe they're buttes, but anything about those kind of monuments, those stone monuments that are particularly drawing for you?
Thank you for your question. Yeah. Um, I had the opportunity to travel those places and take just picture of, landscaping that are beautiful. And then I put in my websites and it's just the beauty of the air, the connection. It's the connection with what we are seeing. And then I think this has, for me, I put it with the intention of Zen, of Zen is right in front of your eyes. It's no, traditional way to see what we think about Zen is, Zen monks and robes or incense. And that's what I think nature is the main temple, no?
Certainly. I mean, those
And
and they.
and
Mhm.
yeah, it's contemplative practice.
Mm.
Mhm.
Now, having spoken with you about it, like there is this something about that. Maybe those buttes are kind of sitting. It feels like, like
Mhm.
they're just these very immovable um,
Yeah,
structures that
yeah,
that are that are you notice them because they're up, right?
yeah,
They're above. Uh,
yeah. The Monument Valley is one of my favorite places, and then I had the opportunity to travel. It was uh, holidays I have here in Upaya, so I didn't know how to spend my time. And then a resident, she told me, say, go, go. I was planning to go to the Grand Canyon, and then she said, oh, you can do this, loop or route and go to Monument Valley, and you come down through Colorado. And, yeah, and then I got a car, and then Monument Valley just blew my mind. It's a beautiful place.
yeah,
It's very powerful place. You
yeah.
feel something there. It's just wow. Yeah, and I camped there. It was quite crazy because it was so windy, but
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah, but it's
Um,
beautiful place. It's a lot of energy there.
Very meaningful. And you've had the opportunity, like I think I'd mentioned before, of you've been all over. Like you were born in Mexico, you practiced in New Mexico, but also in Toronto, and now you
Hmm.
practice in San Diego. And I was just wondering, because of that Toronto connection, you found yourself with I believe a Korean Zen
Korean
teacher.
Zen teacher, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Sunim, I believe, right?
Sunim, Samu Sunim,
I'm
yes.
assuming, yeah. How did you become connected with him, and what was it like to be practicing in Canada?
Mm. So I was in the university in Mexico City, and then just I was getting interested into Zen and by books. At the same time that I was reading those Zen books, one time I was just passing by in the university, and then and one of the bulletin boards, I saw information about Zen lectures, like Korean, but they were saying Korean Zen by Samu Sunim. And I was surprised because I thought, in that time, I thought that Zen was only Japanese, because that was what I was reading. And when I saw Korean, I said, oh, interesting. And then I went to the lecture of Samu Sunim, and then makes sense what he was saying to me, like what to the audience, and you're like, wow, I like this. And then I follow several lectures that he was doing around Mexico City, and then he had a workshop on how to meditate, introduction to Zen meditation, and then I took it. That was in 1996, and and then like I liked this meditation practice, and then I follow the Sangha because he have a sitting group in Mexico City, and then I joined the Sangha. And Samu Sunim, he used to go to Mexico once a year, and then to do retreats. and then he have students there. So I joined the session, so and became a student of him. I received praises by him. And later he came back and he saw me there. There was still around. I was part of the Sangha. I was 24 years old. And that's he invited me to Toronto. Well, to Chicago first. He said, hey, looks like you like the practice. And then will you be interested to receive residential training? And then I was like, yeah, I'll sign me up, it's good. And then, and I had illusions like a United States and, first world and everything. I had never been here before. And I said, oh, wonderful. Yeah, and I decided to do it. It took me 2 years, get my paperwork and everything. I went to Chicago for like a tryout, almost 3 months. And then he told me, say, what do you think? Would you like to continue? And then I say, yes. I say, okay. So the next step is to go to Toronto Temple to do the training there. I said, yeah, fine. Canada. Okay. So I went to Canada. And that was, I don't, just looking back, I don't know why, I don't know what I did, Like if I can reflect it, it was like wow, you were crazy, with so many things against. Like I didn't reflect, I was just follow my heart. And I came to Canada in 2022, February 22. So, um, and training, well, with Korean training with Sunim, I would say this, is more into the Rinzai approach of the Japanese Zen, because the lineage coming from Linchi, there is a Rinzai. And it was very, um, I would say, very ascetic practice and also devotional, like a lot of prostrations, a lot of chanting, and very macho approach to like a, tough, prove it, that kind of approach. And I was 20, 24, 25. So, no, 27. I was 27 when I went there. So I had the whole energy, 29. That was young and my body handled very well. It was good. And with Canadians, with Suning have a very, he have, still the Sangha, they really emphasize a lot about really formal practice, like a lot of Zazen. They are known to engage Buddhism or activism, like a hidden Upaya, that we have so many programs, and John Halifax is different approach. It was really more like a monastic training without being monastic. But the discipline and the foundations of the practice it was great, it was very good. If you really want to work with yourself and your mind, you have to commit, And so that's and then yeah, it was nice. And Canadian people love it. Toronto is, it's in my heart. I want to go back. I haven't. I went back a long time ago, but I want to go back and to see some friends
Mm.
and it was good time. I spent 4 years with him, 4 years with him, and later it was and my body just give up. I was tired of the training. I was really tired, and then I had to leave.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
And uh, I believe that's where you first received ordination too. Is that where you first
Mm-hmm.
received through him?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
well, I have a few things that I want to mention about it, but on the one hand, I just want to say thank you for sharing that because it sounds like it was this a rigorous training that you had, and you knew that your body was ready or that you could handle the various things about it, and you could find
Mm-hmm.
it enriching in various ways. But at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that lifestyle or that pace is just really hard to keep up with
Mm-hmm.
over extended periods of time. Um, and two, I mean, this is something that we kind of talked about towards the beginning with going to San Diego and developing a sangha there and kind of facilitating a sangha there and dealing with that unknown element where
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of practice with the unknown and
Mm-hmm.
and there you were kind of in your early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, continue like having some having some experience with that unknown again. You're just kind of following your heart. You can look back and say, "Oh my gosh, like what was I doing? Like I had no idea. I had no idea what my plan was." And
Yeah,
uh, just for people now, because I think that there are some people, much like how people were during the pandemic, but maybe like right now too, where people are looking to shift their lifestyles, or they're looking to make sense of what's going on. Um, what are some things that you would advise or help guide people with this unknown, this like the unknown nature of the path that we're all inevitably walking, because the present keeps changing.
yeah,
Everything
yeah, yeah,
keeps
yeah,
happening.
yeah,
So
yeah.
how do we deal with that unknown element?
Oof, it's well, uh, you have to throw something, and then and here start, you know. And for me, when the beginning of my practice, I remember that I read a book by this master Taisen Dishimaru, that he's very well known in Europe. Um, and then I read it, and then he said, you know, the Zen monk, the only thing that he or she trusts is in Zazen, and that's it. And then I think he mentioned it, from that everything comes. And that was like, wow, that's easy, you know, if I keep my practice and that, but that sentence gave me a lot of trust in the practice itself. And I trust in the silence and this, you know, the cushion you do in your zazen, you do in your method, and really learn the method of sitting. And then a lot of things gonna come out, you know, as part of the process. But there are something that you touch, or all of us we touch, and that's why you need to trust. To trust. When I talk people, when they ask me, you know, what is next, I say, okay, just trust what is the thing that brought you here. What is the thing that you make click to sign up into this? You know, what is that thing that brings you to get the car and come to the temple or come to the center? Trust in that. And then later, with the pass of the time, it's going to be more clear for you what it is about. And that has been, you know, my journey. And then I've been in many crossroads in my own journey, because spiritual journey is not easy. It's not easy. If spiritual journey were easy, the path, poof, we have many people. We have stadiums fully doing this. But no, it's a select people. But if some people started, they touch that part, there is something there, the powerful of meditation, in this case on Buddhism, to be alone and sitting and connected with your breath, and then to learning how to be in the present moment. When you realize that, you realize that everything that is just the filter, they make it crazy not to see what is going on. So you cultivate more and more and more and more. And then some wisdom will come out that you will learn how to navigate in your life. And you start prioritizing what really is nourishing for you in your life. But you're getting this power from Zazen to say no, you know, to change your karma, to change your direction, to change your habits. And then you cultivate good habits versus cultivating bad habits, things that by your conditioning, you know, creates suffering. And that and and then the unknown is not knowing. No, it's one of it's classic Zen teachings, not knowing. To start learning, we are so intellectual oriented, so everything has to go to the filter of intellect, and then know everything. There are things like a spiritual path. We need very minimum to the intellect, you know, just to plan and things to organize our lives, practical things. But many of them is in the unknown side, where your heart knows to navigate. And that we have to be more in touch, because it's about body awareness, it's about feeling, about embracing life. no instant to get this filter and be descriptive about life. And then your body knows with the pass of the time, and that's how you connected more.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And there's that trust in the practice that is
It's the
so
trust and the practice.
yeah. Um, and thank you because I mean, I'm in a very full boat with everyone in the sense of just like not knowing well what's to come, in various ways, and but still, I appreciate that, especially that note of well, when you're in these unknown times or when you are finding yourself struggling for some sort of light or some sort of decision or whatever it is that look into that part of yourself that drove you to the temple that day. Like what brought you there? Um,
Yes.
and or if you're practicing your house, like what got you to that cushion? Like you were drawn to it for some reason. Like why?
Hmm.
And investigating that is really it feels like it's a very powerful resource. So
Hmm.
thank you for sharing that. And on the body intelligence or the body listening to the body because I remember reading in part of your memoir that's available uh, when you were first starting out with meditation you kind of had some hesitation because uh, meditation felt like an intellectual exercise. It felt like it was
Hmm.
something about your mind. uh,
Hmm.
and then I know that you have had some experience, I believe, with yoga. Like you've done some yoga
Hmm.
practice, some physical
Hmm.
practice. What
Hmm.
has it been like to go from a very intellectual thinking cognitive understanding and perception of reality and engagement with other people to being in your body more and how has yoga or how has sitting zazen how have those things kind of helped inform this change in perspective.
Yeah. Well, in my own journey, the conditioning of of thinking or conditioning just the way how we manage this life, and then we have education and we go to schools, and so we exercise a lot, and then we are disconnecting with the body and more, and the next generations they're going to be more disconnected with the body because so much, with the technology, what is going on. And my generation, we used to play, we used to play in the streets and having, team games. So we were more active physically as a kids, and but now is people spend more time inside and then connected with a device. So here, so everything is just so we process a lot by intellect, thinking, and we went to meditation, and when it's normal, we come and then we start doing zazen or this meditation practice with the brain because we are engaging so much with thinking thoughts. And sometimes if we think that we are meditating, like it's very classic Zen quotation. They say, don't put another, another person on top of the person who's sitting, the thinker. And that takes time to really release the habit and the mindfulness of the body. And Zazen and Zen, we so much emphasize on the posture and the physical sensations, like a really body awareness. So you are sitting there and you are bringing that energy from the top to the bottom, what we call to the hara, no, to the here, to the lower abdomen, and to be more. It's a yoga practice, but only with one posture, with one asana that you are sitting there. Uh, and then you start, learning. It took me many years to understand that because I was still chasing the experience with the brain when it's just really body awareness. Uh, until so I asked many teachers how to practice zazen, and all of them they say body awareness of the body, awareness of the body, aware. And I said, well, okay, go back. I thought it was very basic. It's basic, but that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. So your body knows. So you start more connected with with everything, with all your body, all your organs, and everything, not just the brain,
Mm.
and 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 then connected with your heart, because we are so disconnected. Like sometimes with the feeling or emotions, things, and then what the intellect is telling you about something else, and we repress a lot. We push it away those things, and we don't listen to the heart. And then sometimes that's why we get sick or we get frustrated about lives because we pass the light through our filters and instead what is really true.
Mm. And those thoughts can lead you astray. They can distract you from what's really
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you for that, and especially too. I mean, what you're saying about just younger generations, because I didn't grow up as a young boy, like with a phone or with access to like a lot of like
Hmm.
digital things, like how
Hmm.
now there could be iPads in your hand, like at a very early age. And I was just wondering, because I know that you have done some work with teenagers, and you have been doing some things with inward bound mindfulness experiences,
Hmm.
and what has that is that fulfilling for you in a particular way? I mean, do you like kind of engaging with the younger age group and bringing them into this kind of a body awareness or into a mindfulness practice? And is this something that you like to kind of incorporate into your teaching, into what how you serve your Zen communities?
Yeah. Yeah, I have at that time when I got involved, I had um, the vision, like how you want to express your Dharma, how you want to express your teachings. And many teachers, like John Halifax, my teacher, she was into the big with dying, life care. Other teachers, they go to prisons. Other teachers work with homeless. Or it has to have some kind of expression or manifestation in the society. And that time I thought, oh, I would like to work with youth, you know, and then to show um, that there is another way to see this life. I give it a tool for them, just giving a tool that maybe in the future they can remember. So that was when it started. It was in 2010. And then I'm glad that people through Paya that I connect, one of them is Temple, I think Temple Smith. He's a teacher, inside teacher. And then he connect me with Spirit Rock, first Spirit Rock, and they were doing these teenager retreats. And then I volunteered as a staff first, and later I met Jessica Morey, and then she was the director of IBME at that time, and she invited me to join the staff, and then became a teacher, and then just to work with this next generation to show them, there is another way, there is a gate, and it was very great experience, great, wonderful experience to work with you, and also with the staff, with the teachers, that you build a relationship. What is so nice of those programs is there is not only mindfulness, it's not only meditation like for adults that you go into completely silence and doing the formal practice of mindfulness meditation. So there it breaks. We teach in the morning and the afternoon you do workshops to teach this mindfulness in different ways. But the whole, I think for me, the message was the connection between us, the connect to human being, and to see that we have the same suffering, we have the same challenge, but there is a way to overcome, no? There is a gate to get rid of it. And then that was just fantastic to see the transformation of these young kids. And just 1 week that they have a tool. And many of them, they came back year by year by year, like they became really, really practitioners. And some of them, for sure, they continue practicing as adult life. Some of them, there are teachers now. So that's like a wow. And that's why we plant this seed, because those people, for me, those people, maybe some of them they're gonna be CEOs of big companies. They maybe they have some values. And in this case, Buddhist values. Maybe there is less greed, because this is what is one of the big disease in our society: the greed, hate and delusion, those poisons of the mind. If you plant disease that we can live in different way, more harmonious and more empathic, more compassionate. So yeah, we are changing the world. So it was wonderful, and also in my personal level, part of those retreats. So we meet before, like the teaching team meets 24 hours before, and we go to a little workshop to connect. But also for my personal experience, it was healing my teenagers too. I
Mm.
realized that it was
Oh,
very interesting to see, because your teenager come out when you see all those young people and trigger you, and your teenager is there. And then yeah, it's great. It was wonderful. It was a healing tool as well for me, teaching.
yeah. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that speaks to what you were saying earlier about how, there's there's help in the instruction, there's help in the workshops, there's things that will help the teenagers uh find their breath and find their postures and all that. There's also something very
Hmm.
powerful and meaningful about the being in person with everybody, and this having uh different generations together. And then for you, I mean, there you are when you're around teenagers, your teenager comes out. Like there's this like part of
Yeah.
you that is also a part of
Hmm.
this community that comes out.
Hmm.
And then to
Hmm.
have too, some of these teenagers, as they feel very moved by it, they return, and then sometimes they come back as teachers, and then they get to have their teenager. 'Cause like, "Hey, I've been in your shoes at this
Hmm.
retreat, and I can really
Hmm.
resonate with you on this." That's a really wonderful thing. So I also too, just wanna thank you as someone that could appreciate and understand and want more people that have met these things earlier in their life, because I know
Oh yeah.
I would have wanted to have had more of that exposure when I was younger, and not everyone gets to have that chance. But knowing that there are efforts like the ones that you're behind that
Hmm.
help help kids know that there's another thing out there, that there's another way of looking at reality, there's another way of being in reality. It's a wonderful thing.
You give another option.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some people, some kids that are spiritual beings, that they have different karma and
Mm.
looking for their own quiet tribe, their own group. And they found, wow, there were some kids very, like, wow, very quite advanced, very mature.
Mm, mm.
And they were like, wow. Sometimes what they see and, with their own classmates, they don't resonate,
Yeah, and it can be
and they are
isolating.
the
Yeah.
isolated. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, and it's wonderful that you offer a community, even if it's just for a week or two, that you offer that
Mm-hmm.
space for them. Well, this has been such a wonderful conversation. I just had two quick questions towards the end here. One is if there's anything that
Mm-hmm.
you have to promote, if there's anything that you're working on. I know you write, but I also know that you are leading retreats all over the country and all over the world. So I don't know if there's something that you'd want to promote and have some people know more about, or if there's something that you're involved with or know about, that you want to get some eyes and ears on. If there's anything that you'd like to share, I'd love to hear.
Like, well, uh, just in general, it's people, I think meditation practice can enrich your life. It's a good, contemplative practice in this case, about talking about Zen Buddhism or Buddhism itself. And to, like, it's so important for me, so important the people to be aware that Zoom has a limitations. Zoom has a limitation. So the Zoom cannot change. They cannot, let's say, supplement the human contact. So it's so different when you sit with people and connect with people, and then make the effort to follow what we call a sangha wherever you are. You know, if you are in San Diego, Chula Vista, well, we are there. We are Open Gate and the Open Gate Zen Collective, and my intention is keep the community very low key, very local. I call like a art like a artisan Zen. You know, like I go back to the roots, to the simplicity of the practice. And for me, it has been like how eye-opening. We do Zazen, and, and we practice for 1 hour or 1 hour and a half, and then we have a living room when people sit, have a tea and cookies, and just talking for 1 hour or 2 hours, and the phone doesn't come out, and that's just great. This is what we need. This is the connection that we are sometimes missing.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what I can say. And then for people that are listening this, is if you are in the, like a new to this practice, it's very slow process. You need to have a lot of patience, so following your heart. And always I say the 3 Ps, you know, learn the practice, really the method of Zazen, of sitting, patience, a lot of patience, and perseverance. You know, give it time, give it time.
Mm.
You
And
know,
I'm so glad to hear that that you have that approach too for your Zen collective in San Diego and just in general, where you want to keep it low key, where it can be accessible. There's
yeah, yeah.
and then also too, there's this when you keep it light, there is a lightness to it, and so when you're practicing, you can practice for an hour, and then you go and have tea and cookies, and that can be deeply engaging as well, where no phones come out, and so it's a really wonderful thing that you're cultivating there. And then my second question, and I think that you've touched on some elements of this, but is there any advice that you'd want to give to somebody who's going on along the Buddhist path that you would have wanted to have heard as you were coming through it? Like, was there something that you'd want to maybe even remind your old self about as you were journeying through Buddhism earlier on?
Mm, mm. It's yeah, it's how can I put it? Before to get the harvest of, say, of your practice, or the benefits of your practice, you know, uh, you're gonna you're gonna meet very you're gonna be challenged. You're gonna be challenged. You're gonna be challenged by the path. The path is no easy. The spiritual path is no easy. It's just the self-centeredness in the ego. But here you need to trust yourself. You need to trust the teachings, the Buddha's teachings, and trust your heart. Like the means you are a Buddha in this case. You are a waking one, and then you have uh, we trust in a teacher, we trust in a sangha. Yeah, this is important, but the most important thing is to trust your heart. When you see sometimes you see things that are not right in communities or behaviors of what teachers. So that we are humans. We are humans. So if a teacher behaves wrong, yeah, it's just human, but you don't need to copy those things. You know, copy the good things of the teacher when the teacher is teaching the Dharma, not the bad habits of the teachers. And then trust yourself. This is so important, to trust yourself and be. One of the important things is to be humble, and then you will find this humility with the connection or very ancient tradition, you know. So I know Asian. I didn't grow up as a Buddhist. I came from different culture, and I had tremendous respect for the tradition, for the ancient tradition, and make you humble. I not discover anything. I'm not making anything new. There have been people before me. That is the lineage, and then that's why we are stand up, and then we are gonna pass on. So what does it mean to be humble? To learn how to open your heart to the devotional aspect of the practice, to find that connection with the ritualistic aspect. I'm not talking about institution. I'm not talking about institution. No, about no everything has to be through the intellect. Sometimes to light a candle in your room make you something to you, or offer incense. It's you with the relationship, I would say, to the universe, to the unknown, name it whatever you want. So that is what makes us humble.
Sensei Shinzan, thank you so much for
Thank
speaking
you.
with me. That was such a beautiful reminder, and yeah, like having that trust in yourself, uh, that being of great importance because there are so many challenges. There are so many
Mm.
challenges that can happen all the time, and so yeah, you can rely on the three refuges, but you also there is this element of just like being able to show up for yourself, and
Yeah.
to believe in yourself in your heart. Well, thank you so much for joining me this morning, and
And just to say something else,
oh yeah.
sometimes sometimes in your path when it's too challenging, you can slow down.
Mm,
It's okay to take a little break. Just slow down. Just find your battles. And then when you are in good spot in your practice is when many people that are feeling good and getting these benefits and they stop practicing. No, it's when you really get the extra. You are coasting in the Dharma.
mm.
You know?
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be like a
No,
race.
no,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
no, it's not rage. Just so you find.
yeah,
You find that sometimes sightings are overwhelmed.
yeah.
Sometimes are overwhelmed. It's part of our healing
Mm,
and our
mm.
journey. And take your time.
Yeah. There is that what we spoke to earlier of just like, wanting to get it right, wanting to be on time, wanting to do the
Hmm.
thing. It's like, well, you also have to have patience for the moment that arrives.
Patience, yeah,
So,
yeah. And then
yeah.
slow down and take a little break and then just come back.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much for joining me
Thank
today,
you.
and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your retreat,
Thank you.
and
Thank you,
congratulations
Jiko.
again on your engagement. And I
Thank
wish
you.
you many safe travels, and thank you for doing all that you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed the talking to you. Thank you. Good luck. Hope to see you again.